All right, picking up with part three of Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. This I feel is arguably, it's certainly one of the longest parts of the poem, but I would argue it's one of the most important. It's where we get our climax of the kind of narrative. And before we can really go through the kinds of ins and outs of what happens in this section, we've got to talk a little bit about this element of the erotic, this concept of courtly love or fin amour, which is the emphasis on graceful and idealized relations between the sexes that begins in 13th century France. And basically, this concept of courtly love is one that challenges and redefines traditional Christian ideals of love, marriage, manhood, virtue, and femininity. And properly applied, courtly love is this incredibly extravagant and artificial stylized relationship. Essentially, it's a forbidden affair that has to meet these five characteristic attributes. The first one is that the relationship between the man and the woman has to be aristocratic, or practiced by members of court between lords, ladies, knights, etc. It's not for poor people, okay? Poor people, they won't understand the beauty of such thing. It is ritualistic, and this is important moving forward because there's very much this ritual that outlines the structure of part three. But in courtly love, there are these rituals where couples in this kind of relationship conventionally exchange gifts and tokens of their affair. The lady would be wooed by these kind of songs, ceremonial gestures, tokens, and she would give hints at her approval. And what makes this courtly love so interesting is that a woman is the dominating figure. She is commanding. She is in charge. She has the authority. And the man is the faithful servant. So in a lot of ways, this kind of courtly love subverts these traditional gender roles of man and women, or men and women. The courtly love relationship is one that is built on secrecy. It's the foundation of the relationship and the source of the kind of passion. It's what makes it exciting. If everybody knows about it, it's not exciting anymore. And the rest of the world doesn't know about these types of this relationship. They are excluded, and essentially the two people have this kind of world of their own that they have created. It is extramarital, and some people say that it is adulterous, but for a true courtly love relationship, it is extramarital. The principal attraction is that the woman typically is married to a figure of authority, and she gains attention from an unmarried man that's usually beneath her in status. And the attraction to that is, think about these kind of powerful aristocratic relationships of, the Middle Ages and even beyond. They aren't marriages based on love. They're based on kind of political power. It's about land. It's a social contract. It's not really about love, so to speak. So the attraction here in this kind of courtly love, this extramarital relationship is that it takes away from the kind of dull monotony of married life and focuses more on intimacy. And notice I don't say sex, it focuses on intimacy because courtly love is non-sexual. They can't consummate, the man and the woman can't consummate that relationship. Otherwise, it is adultery. And that's bad. That's a no-no. That's a true violation of all sorts of chivalrous codes and the codes of courtly love. So I am going to stop here and I'm going to pick up with the rest of part 3 in the next video because I really kind of wanted to just take a minute for you to kind of get this idea of the concept of courtly love, because if you don't understand courtly love, what happens in part 3 doesn't make sense entirely. So I'll pick up here with the hunting game and the temptation and seduction of Gawain.